I'm in Venice, and when you're in Venice, you can't help but think about art because everything is so different and special and unique. I guess that's what makes it a World Heritage Site. Anyway, so in this video, I want to talk about the art of anxiety. So if you painted a picture, you'd be an artist because you've created something out of your imagination, you've created something out of nothing. Now I think we all have the ability to be creative, and creativity is like a neutral force. We can use it for good or we can use it for ill. So I guess if you're an artist, you're using your creativity for good. But suppose you use your creativity for ill, what might that look like? Well, I think we could say, if you're feeling anxious, you're developing ability, you're using the art of anxiety. So let's talk about how to become a proficient artist in the art of anxiety. Now, if you're a pictorial artist, like a painter, you use materials and you have a subject. So what might the materials be if we want to develop ability in the art of anxiety? So let's have a think about it. The first thing I think that you need to do, the first material you need, is to engage in negative thinking. Now, negative thinking is, it's no good, it's hopeless, I'm no good, it's never going to go right, it's all going to go wrong, it's a disaster, I'm going to get found out, I'm not good enough, I feel like an imposter. All of this stuff is negative thinking, and that kind of negative thinking is one of the fundamental building blocks. It's the material, one of the materials that you use to develop ability in the art of anxiety. Another important material that you have to use is that you've got to take things, as an artist would do, you've got to take everyday things and you've got to use them in a creative way. Your body's always doing something, and it's a bit like this palazzo, really. Look, it's absolutely full of people, all doing something. So your body's twitching, it's vibrating, it's feeling itchy, it's feeling hot, it's feeling cold. Your internal organs are always doing something. They're moving, they're processing, they're doing stuff. Most people just ignore that. But if you want to develop the art of anxiety, you've got to start paying attention to things that other people ignore, because you've got to start to give physical sensations a level of meaning that they don't actually have intrinsically. If your leg twitches, your leg's just twitching because your body's always doing something. But if you're developing the art of anxiety, that starts to mean something to you. Your heart, you're itching, you're sweating, all sorts of other things. So the second fundamental material you have to use is you've got to develop the ability to overestimate the importance of physical symptoms. Because when you do that, you're really starting to get some utility in the art of anxiety. The third material you have to use, and this is the one that really solidifies and cements your ability as an artist of anxiety, is you've got to use substantial levels of avoidance. Now, avoidance is the action of telling your brain that you need to avoid something because it's problematic, it's dangerous, it might cause something bad to happen. So avoidance tells your brain that you are valid in avoiding this thing. So if you avoid going on aeroplanes, or if you avoid thinking about physical experiences or symptoms, or if you avoid driving or going into crowded places or meeting new people or talking to people or speaking up for yourself, every time you avoid something, your brain, or you're telling your brain that avoidance needs to happen and it's important, and if you didn't avoid it, something bad would happen, right? If you don't avoid the things that you feel you need to avoid, something bad's going to happen. That's the validity. Now that's the thing that makes you a great artist. That's the thing that makes you really proficient in the art of anxiety. So those are the three materials: negative thinking, overestimation of the importance of physical symptoms, and then of course, avoidance. But what about the subject? So what's the subject of your art of anxiety? Well, the subject is actually the thing that you think causes your anxiety. Now you might say, and these are all such common things that they're just, I hear them all the time. You might say, I had a road traffic accident, therefore I can't drive because it's too frightening. I can't fly, I can't drive on the motorway, I can't go to meetings, I can't talk to people that I don't know, I can't speak in public. All of these things are reasons for you to be anxious, and the more you kind of narrate that story of the reason to be anxious, the more true it feels for you, and that then becomes your subject. So you might spend a lot of time being concerned about your health, or you might spend a lot of time being concerned about your relationships at work or your relationship at home, or you might just feel somehow that things are not quite right, and that means that there's something wrong with you. Whatever the story you tell yourself, the truth is this: it's still just a story. But it's the creation of the story, using the materials and creating the story, that's what makes you an artist in the art of anxiety.